Join me in welcoming Sofie Berga. Hey, Sofie, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, I am an empowerment coach, especially for teens and also for parents. I've been a single mom a lot of my life, and yeah, have really been interested in empowering parenting a lot. And I've worked with kids as a nurse, a pediatric nurse, for a really long time as well. And I'm also a coach. Yeah. And yeah, the author of Raising Manifestors, of course.
Exactly. The book is called Raising Manifestors, the
Yeah.
ultimate empowerment guide for awakened parents. Um, so many of us as parents probably felt like we were asleep when we were raising our kids, but what does it mean to be an awakened parent?
It means to um, know that, yeah, that's a good question. To know that there's an easier way of doing things. So there's a new paradigm surfacing. It has been for a long time. Uh, some call it law of attraction, manifestation. um, but it's basically that we can work with the laws of the universe to attract success or the life that we want. And I've studied that a lot and live it myself. And I decided, for my love for parenting and my love for uh, manifesting and law of attraction and just yeah, all the universal laws I think are really interesting. It brings life in magic into my life. I feel like when I look at life a little bit different. So I decided to marry those two things in a book, um, and really also because I know as a coach that we develop um, limiting beliefs. We all um, up to age 6 or 7 years old, we just basically absorb our parents' belief systems without any, you know, uh, we don't take them into consideration and judge it. We just absorb the belief systems as a sponge, basically. And then later on in life, much of those belief systems become limiting beliefs for us that we have to work through in order to become successful and attract what we want in life and have the life that we want. So if we can, my book is really about how you can set up your kids with the right belief systems and with the right qualities, so that they automatically just attract success and the life that they want, without having to battle a lot of limiting beliefs in their lives. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, how do we start? I mean, like, how young can we start teaching our kids to be manifestors?
Uh, really, really early. There's, a lot of pillars of that, but dreaming big is really a good thing. It's uh, I think as parents, really, we're so afraid of our kids not succeeding that we want to set them up for all these false illusions of security, such as the right, job or the right college or the right friends and things like that. But really, if you teach your kids to listen to their guidance, to their intuition, um, if you teach them an abundance mindset, um, and all those things that I mentioned in the book, there's a lot to mention. um, then, yeah, then they can go out and perform regardless of if they're in the right environment or in the right school, or and they can get the job that they want, and they can live the place that they want to live, and they can get into the right relationship for them and not get into too many pickles of situations.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what kind of things are kind of some of the fundamentals of helping your kid know how to manifest in their life?
Um, well, uh, you have to a growth mindset. You have to teach them and bring them up to. You have to teach them have to have an abundance mindset. You have to teach them to dream big, and also that failing is normal. That's a part of the growth mindset. Um, Let me see if I can remember all of it. um, and then reframing their thoughts. They have to be pretty. They have to have emotional intelligence so that they can know what they feel, realize it, be aware of it, and reframe their thoughts. I've taught my kids to always think what makes them feel good. So, they're human beings, so it doesn't happen all the time. But as young as possible that you can start, the better. So that's just some of the things that you can really focus on. And in the book, I also describe how there's an emotional guidance system or a guidance chart where all the different emotions that we have different frequencies and vibrations, and some are high frequency and some are low frequency. So you want to bring your kids up having and appreciating and striving for the high vibration emotions, because then they naturally attract into their lives all that what they want that are high frequency, which is possibilities and joy and happiness, and what brings them those emotions, and also positive people. Yeah.
So, we talked about earlier, us as parents, all of our fears get in the way and then we put that on our kids. But what kind of struggles do the children themselves have in becoming manifestors in their own life? What kind of things get in their way?
Also just fears and also fitting in. I've also taught my kids to that you don't share your dreams with just anybody, because they're going to talk you down to and even if it's people that you love, you have to be careful who you share things with, and being careful. I don't tell them that because I don't want them to walk around in fear. but but you do have to be aware of who you share your dreams with. So I think obviously it's trying to fit in, because I don't believe we were, created to fit in. We were created to stand out, and that's not a natural thing as a teenager, for example. You really want to fit in as a younger child as well. So at that level, you can, help them just with all the human emotions of overwhelm or fear or sadness and things like that. There's an emotion chart as well in the book, but you can find any online where you can help your kids talk about feelings, for example. I don't think that very many families really talk about that on a daily basis, maybe, because we get so busy in our daily lives. So that's just some of the things. Obviously, they have all the. Even if you are raised as a manifestor, you still have all the so-called human emotions. I believe it's all about not resisting what is and going with the flow, which also means that if you're sad about something, you cry. You don't try to resist being sad, because then it just persists, and it sits in your stomach or somewhere in your body. So yeah, it's really about being emotionally aware and being not non-judgmental as a parent. Helping them really be hold space for them, really.
So the book talks about chapter by chapter how to lead your child to identify their uniqueness, their own path. Um, what is one thing that somebody listening right now could start doing with their children? Something practical they could actually do with them?
They can definitely, you know, recognize what their own fears are and not talk their kids' dreams down, by the, but by their own fears of, well, you have to be, realistic. I can't stand that expression because don't be realistic. You have to be, let them be, dream big. Kids really come into this world as natural manifestors. They live in joy. They see all possibilities. Everything is magic. And then by us imposing on them that things have to be realistic and fit into a certain shape and form, then they lose that. So it's really about getting out of their way and really appreciating what they have. But I would say really dream big with them, be their biggest cheerleader. Try to, recognize what your own fears are when you talk to your kids. Talk to them about emotions every day. You can do it. I had like every Tuesday we brought out this big feeling chart and we talked about 3 emotions that we had throughout the day, positive, negative, whatever. And if we wanted to share, then we could, why we had those emotions or not. Sometimes my kids didn't want to elaborate even more, but gave them a chance. So that's just some of the things that you can do. And also, well, there's so many things to it, but
And another thing they can do is they can get the book Raising Manifestors, and then they can know how to do it.
Exactly. But it's really about living in joy and letting them be in flow. And whenever you're afraid of something, happening or not happening to them, or that they're going in the wrong directions, just ask empowering questions, open-ended questions, curious questions, instead of judgmental questions, to help them recognize what's going on instead of guiding them. Because when we guide even our friends too, when we try to guide other people, it's much more empowering for them to be, learn more about themselves and why they're doing things than being told what to do. And they will go on being really resilient and being able to listen to themselves, and that's what we want as parents, right? So if we guide and structure and all of that too much, then our kids don't learn it for themselves, and then they're gonna get into pickles later. So yeah, that was.
So for the person that wants to go deeper with you, how can they get in contact with you?
You can go to my website, sofieberga.com, and book, schedule a time, or just look at my different programs. I have Motherhood Academy of Magic, where you learn to live in flow, and Raising Manifestors, basically. And yeah, and then the Excelsior program for teens. We talk a little bit about manifesting, but it's really mental tools, for success and emotional intelligence. We talk about abundance, things like that, a growth mindset. So if your teen needs some help with more resiliency and happiness and self-confidence, then they can look at that program too on my website.
Perfect. And that's SOFIEBERGA.com.
That's right. Yeah.
The book is called Raising Manifestors, the Ultimate Empowerment Guide for Awakening Parents. You can get it today for free. In fact, I will put in the comments the link to the book in case you didn't see it in the description. And I encourage everybody to get the book today. Sofie, thanks so much for spending some time with me here on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.